Welcome to my channel. This video will be about my finished works in Romantic Country books by Eriy. I currently own first tale and second tale. If you follow my channel, you probably know that Romantic Country first tale was one of my first purchased book. In the very beginning of my coloring hobby, I watched YouTube flip-through of coloring books and I fell in love with the book by Eriy, and it was one of my first orders on Book Depository. I got the book, but I was puzzled which media to use on this paper. At that moment I didn't have Prismacolor Premiere or Polychromos pencils. I owned Derwent Colorsoft and a lot of budget pencils. So I tried watercolors and it was terrible. Paints looked dull and opaque, even dirty. Derwent Colorsoft, they behaved also not very good, as they didn't layer nicely, they didn't blend well, they were left stripes. So I was disappointed in the paper and it totally discouraged me from doing something serious in this book. I tested some small elements to test various pencils and I put it aside for several years. I think that 3 years I hadn't touched it at all. But almost a year ago I got a request to try to do something in a romantic country and I tried Prismacolors. I'm still not a huge fan of this paper. I still found it difficult to color especially small things and to color without blender, but somehow I got used and now Prismacolors is my main medium for this paper. I also tried to use Neocolor crayons, not so good but possible to use for big backgrounds, and Faber-Castell Polychromos pencils, also far from perfect but possible to use for small details. I also plan to try here my Sucolor pencils. Maybe they also will be possible to use here. But let's talk about pictures which I managed to color here. I think that main reason why I love this book is because I love to color architecture. All those cute villages, city scenes, houses, that's exactly what I love to color. And honestly, I think that second tale is probably 10 times or 20 times more interesting comparing to the first book. But still, in the first book I already did a lot of works. This cafe and seafood restaurant was my first work in this book. Everything colored with Prismacolors. I even added something from myself, these grapes. When I color pictures in Eriy's book, I always tend to slightly change her leaves. I don't like the style of the leaves, and probably flowers, they look a little bit childish. But I do love that because of the gray color of the line art, it's possible to cover them even with Prismacolors without using paint or Posca pens. So I love the final look of the picture where the line art isn't very visible. Here is one of my favorite works in this book. For this patisserie, I used Neocolor crayons for this pink color on the walls, but honestly, with pencils it would be even quicker to do because I covered Neocolors with pencils to get rid of stains. I slightly changed flowers here, but everything else I really love here. Of course, I plan to do the right side also, a lot of my favorite French pastries. But for now I prefer more detailed pictures here. I love that in this book we have several parts that if you want to you can color something from palace life, some castles, or if you want to you can color villages, vegetables, and so we have variety of subjects. In the part about castles and palaces I did this room and I got some inspiration from one of them. I believe that from one of the rooms in Versailles in Paris. So I got this interesting idea of the striped wallpaper, and that was my initial color idea. Then I added this bright blue curtains, and I think that it look nice even if it's unusual for me to use such a green color for the walls. A lot of nice pictures in this part and I definitely will be coloring them. Here is one of my recently finished spreads. You know that I dedicated June, July and even August to these tiny pictures, and one by one I did all these paintings of cats and dogs. I tried to use the same colors for their frames, but because of the different ornaments they don't look boring, the same colors but different ornaments. And in the very end, when I added similar vertical stripes to make connection with this picture, I think that now it really looks like a painting gallery in somewhere in the palace. Another one of my favorite works, it's this one, a very cute picture here in the middle, and I always wanted to do it, but I didn't have any idea what to do with the outer frame. Then I tried to use a watercolor. Here I used white nights, but a watercolor almost without water, so it looks opaque, and for me it resembles velvet, so it really has very nice soft texture, and I managed to apply it here without stains and without visible brush strokes. And on top of it I decided to do these white flowers to outline them with white, and I think that now this frame really looks good together with the central picture, central part colored with Prismacolors. The next spread isn't finished yet. I did this this left side, and it's not bad. The only thing which I would prefer to change slightly, because it doesn't match all other colors which I have on this page, but I wanted to use pastel colors, but somehow now they doesn't match all other parts of the costume, and I don't know why, but I decided to add this light brown or beige watercolors. I hoped to create impression of the old paper, old postcard, but because of the paper somehow it looks a little bit dirty. This watercolor didn't behave well here, so I can't say that I'm happy with the finished look because of this background. This one I definitely will finish. I just need to finish all the leaves, and the birthday party picture finally will be finished. I don't know why I can't find time to do it, because it's just a little bit of work and I will have another finished page. But let's move forward. Here I have some old pictures where I tried to learn how to do different types of skies, but as I said, I owned only a budget pencil, so they didn't cover paper nicely. White dots of the paper are still visible, they didn't want to blend, so I abandoned this spread. The next one is this picture from stables. Everything is good here apart from the horse. I don't think that I colored her neck in the right way, something bothering me here even if I used reference pictures, but all other things, they are good. I am glad that I used bright color for the dress of the girl, so we immediately our attention immediately goes to the girl, to the horse, even if around we have a lot of interesting details. I do love to color such details, all those lamps, buckets, all those baskets, so that's why I decided that I do enjoy doing this book, even if I still have problems with paper. Another one of my very early tests with Derwent Color Softs. Nothing good was with Derwent Color Softs on this paper. I really want to do this spread, one of my favorites in this book. And the next one, we will have this spread. Oh, here on this Halloween page I used Neocolor crayons first for the background. Then on top of it I added pearlescent watercolors, so background is quite shiny and we have a little bit of pearlescent blue, pearlescent orange. So in real life background looks really nice. For the page I tried to use polychromases. It wasn't bad, so it's not impossible to use them. Probably slightly slower comparing to Prismacolors, you need to apply more layers, but still the final look is not bad. And another one of my favorite pages in this book is this Pauline's Bakery. I really enjoyed coloring this one. For myself, I called this page 50 Shades of Bread because for almost each of the different types of the cookies, cakes, cupcakes, different breads, I tried to use different color combos of Prismacolor pencils. More yellowish, more brown, more orange, to try how to do more baked, less baked breads, dark bread, so it was very interesting to do. I really enjoyed doing this one. The next finished spread is this one. I think that now I slightly got used to the style of the Eriy's trees, how to do them slightly more realistic by using lighter and darker shades. Here I have already more autumn trees, and here I have probably spring or summer, so trees in bloom. I also decided to add more details to the big areas of the grass to make it more realistic. Individual areas of the grass, some additional flowers. In such way they look more lovely and you can see the folds of covering big areas with pencils, so it looks a little bit better with adding more details. And my recently finished vegetable garden. Adorable page, I always like it because of the sign no bunnies and these two poor bunnies watching for vegetables. Another page where I tried to use neocolors for the background. I can't say that it was a really good idea. They don't lay here very well, so you still need to use pencils on top of it if you want to add shading. So it wasn't the quickest way to color, but the whole page it was interesting to do. I tried to pay attention to all the highlights, reflection of the fire inside of the fireplace on the nearest objects, also reflection of light from the candles. We have a lot of them. My least favorite part was to do all the books, but in the end I think that the room it looks quite cozy and nice. Another page which I enjoyed immensely, it's this cellar, something like this. So a lot of things for the kitchen. I really enjoy doing all this onion, paper, all these bottles, the tableware. I tried to add some texture on the wall. I added these bricks and on the wooden parts. I love this slightly faded look of the old blue wood, so I tried to use a lot of dark colors to create impression of the old furniture. And I don't remember, I think that I even used maybe neo colors or some other pencils for the floor. I definitely think that I added this floor. Of course, I plan to color this page with a winter picture, maybe in November or December, because it's really nice. It's all for the first tale, but I also want to show you a couple of finished works in the second tale. As I said, I think that the second tale is more interesting, so if you're interested in Eriy's book, the second tale is still available on Amazon on Book Depository, so I would suggest to purchase the second tale. Unfortunately, here I finished only 2 pictures. Probably I need more time for these pictures. They are more detailed, so I color them more slowly, but I enjoy doing them more comparing to the first book. When I got the book, I immediately fall in love with this forest house, or maybe it's somewhere in the garden, but the whole idea of having this tree inside of the house and its branches going through the roof, a lot of wooden textures and a lot of this botanical details, botanical elements printed and inside of the bottles and jars. It was really very interesting to do. Charming place. The only thing I would prefer to change slightly it's those trees which I have on the background. I tried to make them to look more realistic, but I wasn't very successful. Maybe I had to use more paints, not only pencils, but that's the only element which is bothering me a little bit, which I would prefer to improve. But I do love the bark of the tree. I love impression of the floor highlighted by the sunshine of the sunbeams going through the upper windows. So I think that it was a good start. And the second picture which I finished in this book, it's definitely one of my favorite pictures. I already did similar spread in Menu de Bonheur by Kanoko Yagusa, similar page with fruit and flower market. But here it was even more interesting to color because here we have this pie shop, here we have cheese, here we have antique, here we have bookshop, flowers, fruits. So I colored it in parts and it never was boring because parts of the spreads they were totally different, and in the same time I still tried to unite them in the one big picture. So I used similar yellow colors for umbrellas. I did this street. I added some stones, some cobblestones on the street, and I think that it's good. At least I really enjoyed doing it. I already have a lot of pictures which I want to do in this book, and because of the many pictures with connected to the Halloween, to witches, they will be on top of my list. Everything here I did with Prismacolors. Some of the areas it was easier to color on, some of the areas they blended less successfully. On smaller details I even added a little bit of polychromasis for the lines, for the details. But as I said, I think that I finally got used to this paper, so it gives me hope that I will be coloring more in Eriy's book. Well, I hope that you liked my pictures in Eriy's book, and if you follow, some of the colorings are on my YouTube channel, some are on membership part and on Patreon page. And of course, I hope that quite soon I will finish that birthday party page, and that I will add new works in Eriy's book. And most of all, I am happy that after 3 years of total neglecting, now these books, they are one of my most frequently used. Thanks for watching, and until the next videos.